I just finished a 2-hour ritual that I do every single year. It's a annual financial review. I'm a middle school teacher. I'm considered middle-aged, and we live in the middle of the country. And for a long time, we felt, well, pretty middle, I guess. But when I hit enter on my spreadsheet this year, I had to call my wife into the room and just make sure I wasn't seeing things. After 25 years of working, raising 3 kids, and even surviving a major layoff in 2023, our retirement accounts officially crossed the $1 million mark. Our total net worth, $1.5 million. Now, how did a middle income family with 3 kids and a teacher's salary pull this off? Especially considering we were a single income family for over a decade. Today, I'm breaking down the exact timeline, the percentages, the boring habits that made us millionaires by the age of 45. Welcome to my first video of Mastering the Middle. Hi, I'm Eric. I'm 49 now, but the story starts when I was 22. I just graduated. My first real job I took at a small manufacturing company. I was an inside sales representative. My wife, she took a job at a large manufacturing company in their accounting department. She was a billing and accounts payable specialist. I didn't have a master plan. I didn't have a windfall, but what I had was a 401k enrollment form. We decided right then to contribute 7% of our income. But here's where the middle gets real. For 12 years, my wife was a stay-at-home mom. We had 3 kids. We made the choice for her to be home with them. That meant for over a decade, we were building this wealth on one salary. People think you need 2 corporate earners to earn or to hit that 7-figure mark. You don't. You just need discipline. As my salary grew over the years, we used the Auto-Escalator, I guess you want to call it that. Every time I got a raise, we didn't buy a bigger vehicle. We bumped our 401k contribution up by 1% or 2%. It wasn't always easy. There were years where the budget was tight, and years where we questioned if we should lower that number, that percentage, just to make it a little bit easier. Eventually, we were able to get it up to 15% of our income was contributed to the retirement savings plans that were offered with my company. We treated that 15% like a tax. It wasn't optional. When my wife eventually went back to work part-time as the kids got a little bit older, we didn't use her paycheck to upgrade our lifestyle. We used it to fortify our kids' college savings funds and our own margin of safety. Every extra dollar she earned, it felt like a turbo boost because our lifestyle was already set based on my salary, my salary alone. If you're in your 20s or your 30s watching this, just please hear me. The amount doesn't matter as much as the habit. But here's another thing. Where did that money go? Where did, that 7%, 10%, 12, eventually 15%, where do we put that money? This is where many people get scared and play it too safe, in my mind. Because we knew we didn't want to touch that money for a long time, until we were 60, 65, 70, we chose aggressive, long-term index funds. We didn't try to pick the next hot stock or trade crypto. We bought the entire market. We rode the ups and downs of the early 2000s with the dot-com crash, the 2008 housing crash, and then the 2020 pandemic volatility. When the market dropped 30%, it hurt to look at our statements. I'm not going to lie about that. But because our contributions were automated, we were buying shares at a discount. When you're in the middle, you don't need to be a financial genius. You just need to be consistent. Compound interest is a mathematical miracle, but it requires 2 things. It requires time and boredom, really. You have to be okay with your money being boring for 20 years. Now you might be thinking, okay, So what they do, live on rice and beans and never have any fun? Actually, no. One of the pillars of mastering the middle is knowing what to skip and what to cherish. We have 3 kids. They're now 16, 19, it's all right, I think about that, and 21. If you've had kids in sports, you know the cost. We spend thousands on travel teams, overnight tournaments, gear. We took family vacations pretty much every single year. We made memories. But how? Well, we were selectively frugal. We drove our cars until the wheels practically fell off. We didn't live in the biggest house we could afford. We didn't have the newest iPhones every year. We automated our wealth first. And then we spent what we had left on the things that actually brought us joy. Being a millionaire isn't about a gold-plated life. It's about having a life that's fully funded for what matters to you and for you. In 2023, that middle, it got rocked. After 14 years with a large insurance company, as a project manager in the last few years, well, I was laid off. I had a decent salary. I had pretty nice benefits, but that was gone. 10 years ago, that would have been a catastrophe. But because we had mastered our finances, that layoff wasn't an end. It was a bridge. It gave me the space to breathe and ask, what do I actually want to do with the second half of my life? What drives me? I realized I wanted to teach. I'm now a first-year middle school teacher. Yeah, I took a significant pay cut to do this. But because our $1 million foundation was already built, I could afford to follow a passion rather than a paycheck. Yeah, on paper, our income is much lower than it was just a few years ago. But because we hit that $1 million mark, the compounding machine is already running. I traded a corporate salary for a life of purpose. That is the true power of hitting that $1 million mark. It's not about the number. It's about the freedom to choose your next chapter. Now, I mentioned at the beginning of the video that I spend about 2 to 3 hours every year reviewing our finances in depth. This is a habit I want to encourage you to start. I don't track every nickel and dime daily. That's exhausting. In fact, to be honest with you, we've tried the budgeting apps and the budgeting programs that are out there. We failed at that. We could never track every coffee or quick lunch for more than a month. And then we just kind of stopped using them. But once a year, I do sit down with a simple spreadsheet. I list every account, bank accounts, like our savings and our checking accounts, brokerage accounts. We do a few stocks and index funds that I own. And then our retirement savings. We have a couple 401ks, a 457B that I started as a teacher, and a couple IRAs. And then for the net worth, I take a look at that as well, and I add in, our house value at that time, any debt that we may have at that time, and that's all rolled up into this spreadsheet. This habit does 2 things. Number 1, it keeps you on the same page as your spouse. My wife and I talk about our goals for the next year during this time. And then number 2, it highlights those, I'll call them sneaky wins. Often you don't feel wealthy in June, but when you look back at the whole year in January, hey, you realize you paid down $10,000 in debt, or your investments grew by $50,000 while you were sleeping. That awe moment I had this year only happened because I had the data to see it. If you feel like you're stuck in the middle age, middle income, or just the middle of the pack, know that you are in the best position to build wealth. You don't need a corporate ladder. You just need a system. I got 4 things for you. Number 1, start today. At whatever percentage you can, start today. 2, auto-escalate that number every year. Try and increase it. A percent, $25, $100, whatever. Try and get that to auto-escalate. Number 3, invest aggressively in index funds, but then you got to leave it alone. It's going to go down. It's going to go it's going to go up a lot more than it's going to go down. And then number 4, spend intentionally on what you love and cut out the rest. I created this channel, Master the Middle, to help people just like us navigate life, money, and career when you're right in the thick of it. If this was helpful, hit the subscribe button. Quick question for you guys in the comments. How much are you able to currently squirrel away? 5%? 10%? Let's talk about it below. And please check out my other videos where I'll go in depth on mastering the middle. I'm Eric, and I'll see you next time.